I don't live within the Beltway. I haven't lived in Washington in 3 decades, for those of you who wonder. I call it Sodom and Gomorrah on the Potomac. Voices from all over the country, right? People who watch this show in the run-up to the last presidential election, to a person, have said to me, I knew Trump was probably going to win, because we heard voices from all over the country explaining why they'd previously voted for Democrats, they were voting for Trump. To hear voices from all over, unfiltered by media, often liberally biased media, to understand what's going on, right? So if you live inside the Beltway, or your biorhythms for information and news are elite or fervent and frequent, if you're watching cable news, if you're on Twitter, etc., sometimes you think, well, all anybody's talking about is Jimmy Kimmel, or all anybody's talking about is Charlie Kirk, or all anybody's talking about is what happened in Dallas today, or all anybody's talking about is Donald Trump's latest post on Truth Social. And then sometimes you learn, no, actually, this is a preoccupation of the Drew Holdens of the world. I'm kidding, Drew, because Drew is actually better about thinking about real people than almost anybody I know who lives inside the Beltway. But you think, well, this is a preoccupation of MSNBC and Fox, and it's not a real thing. Okay. So this is a very fraught time. What happened in Dallas today, shooting of an ICE facility, what happened to Charlie Kirk, what happened in New Hampshire, it's gotten almost no coverage. It's kind of mind-boggling, and other things that have happened. Right, a very fraught time. So, and let's be honest, Washington Post now reporting James Comey is going to be indicted. Very fraught time, right? Stuff happens every day, and this was true before Donald Trump, but certainly in the last 10 years, we're in a very fraught and divided time. But it's tempting to think it's even more fraught than it is, because if your life is about cable news and Twitter, you're not realizing that most people are not paying attention to most of this. Okay, that's a big wind up to this. New Quinnipiac poll. This is number 10, please. Okay. The new Quinnipiac poll, national poll. And it suggests that what's going on now is not a preoccupation of elites or news junkies. Quinnipiac national poll, nearly 8 in 10 voters say the United States is in a political crisis. Now it's 79% of all voters. Democrats, 93% of Democrats say the country's in a political crisis. That's a lot. Independents, 84%. 60% of Republicans. Now, it's lower for Republicans, because they have the White House, would be my guess. They don't want to say Donald Trump's America's in crisis. But 84% of independents say the country's in a political crisis. That's not just viewers of cable news and Twitter. Almost everything we're going to go through tonight on video and with our guests is stoking this political crisis. There you see a graphic of this. Look at that. 80% overall, 93% of Democrats in a political crisis. Now, people can obviously define political crisis different ways, but this is a very, fraud is too weak a word. This is a very rough time for America. So, shooting in Dallas, the absolute hypocrisy of the liberal media, and I'm so glad Drew is here. The absolute hypocrisy of the liberal media, matched by hypocrisy on Republicans, who all of a sudden are for cancellation and censoring. But the difference is the Democrats have the media on their side. So it's 2-on-1. That's the difference. It's an asymmetrical difference. But the hypocrisy on the right bothers me too. President Trump yesterday canceling a scheduled meeting for tomorrow with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. And unlike some of this stuff, which doesn't really affect the real lives of real people, a government shutdown would. The inability of the two sides to come together, which they'll have to do, because they need 60 votes in the Senate, so they need some Democratic votes. This level of division, this anger, the 0 to 60 and outrage. I don't know if you guys ever watched The Five on Fox. I was just watching as I was preparing. Man, that is a fraught conversation. Keep using the word, and again, it's too weak a word. This is an incredible time, and we don't know the facts of what happened in Dallas. But what we do know is the Trump administration is claiming it was a anti-ICE person who shot. Now, the FBI director, put this up, please. Number two, Kash Patel put out on Twitter a shell casing that he says shows anti-ICE on one of the unused shell casings from the alleged shooter. Now, I'm an old school journalist. If the government says something, I don't just say it's true. And I say that about Republican and Democratic administrations. I'm just an old school journalist. I just don't believe in just saying if the government says it says it's true, because governments lie, particularly during wartime. Early when one of the first controversies I stirred up immediately after 9/11, I said, I forget in what forum I said it, but I said, governments lie during war. All governments lie during war. It's what they do. And so even though the country's been hit, and I live 4 miles from ground zero, even though the country's been hit, the press has to be on guard, because government's like, we're in a war right now. It's a civil war here at home. And so I'm not saying Kash Patel's lying. I'm just saying, I don't automatically say those are real shell casings. I don't automatically say that because they're shell casings that the guy who did it is of the left. I just don't automatically say it. I'd rather we all wait. We still don't know the motivation of the person who tried to kill President Trump at Butler. Okay? A lot we don't know. But what we do know is that from Dallas to Utah to New Hampshire to Jim Comey being indicted reportedly to war over Jimmy Kimmel, what we do know is this is a really divided country. And while it's been really divided for a long time, the assassination of Charlie Kirk in particular has elevated this to a new level. It's elevated to a level that I have not experienced, and I've been covering this exact topic almost my entire career. And again, certainly for the last decade, because of Donald Trump and his polarizing ways. Man, okay.
This episode brought to you by Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth makes incredible sheets, bedding, shirts, and the pants, which you hear me talk about all the time. And we'd like you to be able to experience the comfort and joy of Cozy Earth products. The bedding comes with a 100-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, but you won't need those. You'll want to keep it. Go to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the promo code TWOWAY. Save 40% off. 40% off the entire site. Couldn't be more comfortable. And as you heard me say before, you can wear the pants anywhere. I have another dinner tonight out. I wouldn't say it's super fancy, but it's a little fancy, and I'll be wearing the pants. And people just either not notice them or notice them and say how nice they look. Cozy Earth products are viscose made from bamboo. They're very breathable, very comfortable, but again, they look great, very soft. Go to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the code TWOWAY, 40% off the best pants, shirts, everything. And do a post-purchase survey. Tell them you heard about Cozy Earth right here. That'll help us out. So please do that. Built for real life, made to keep up with yours, Cozy Earth. Thank you for your attention to that matter.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the Morning Meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.